All right, thank you. Good. All right, good morning. Welcome to the Fire Prevention and Building Safety Commission meeting for May the 9th, 2024. All right, roll call. Mr. Cook. Present. Mr. Chris. Mr. Davidson. Mr. Hyde.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman. Yes. Mr. Franklin. Mr. Patterson.
Present.
Mr. Poppich.
Present.
Mr. Porter.
Present.
Mr. Wagner.
Present.
Mr. Zane.
Present.
All right. You guys. Review of the 2024 minutes. Did everybody read those? Any discussion on them?
I'll make a motion to approve. I'll second.
First and second to approve April 2024 minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Have to take a vote.
Mike's online, so if you roll call. Oh, that's right. Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Chris? Mr. Hyde?
Yes.
Chairman? Yes. Mr. Franklin? Mr. Patterson? Yes. Vice Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Porter?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Zane? Yes. Administration reports and updates. Variance determination report is available online. Did anybody have a chance to read that? Anybody have any questions about anything submitted there? All right. No state building commissioner interpretations at the time of publication. Rulemaking updates, electrical committee. Vice Chairman, you want to talk about that or you want me to?
You're welcome to expand upon what I have to say, but all I have to say really is we're moving along. We're making good progress. Our next meeting is next Wednesday, the 17th, I believe, or 15th. Okay, Daz, why don't you go ahead and take over? I'm getting a ton of background noise. Sounds like somebody shuffling stuff around and banging.
Okay, sorry. Yes, the meeting of the electrical code committee is next Wednesday. We do have lots of submissions for that code committee, so we think that we're making good progress on that. Kayla, anything else that you need to add to that? All right, we're good there. Moving on to building code update committee. Chairman, you want to talk about that? Yeah, I think we're making good progress on that as well. We've gotten through a few of the chapters. So I think we're moving forward on that. We've had some good discussion. We are, and I'll expand into the fire code update committee as well. We are going to have a joint meeting next month, June 12th, to discuss a couple of the chapters in there so that we get those consistent with one another. Chapter 510, emergency responder, and then an additional in chapter 3, I think it's 319 and 321 and 323, I believe, something like that, about equine, is that correct? Equestrian facilities. So we'll talk about that in racetracks. So we needed to have some discussion together on those items. But we're moving forward. I think we're doing well. We've had a few things we've tabled, just have to take back to do some more research on. So anything else you'd like to add, Daz? And then I know we got a vacancy that we've got filling, right?
We have a vacancy for fire.
And so the only thing that I would add to building and fire both is that the rulemaking review schedule is available online for the entire year. Please feel free to put in proposals early if that is something that you want to do. They won't be heard until the time comes to hear them, but there's nothing preventing you from submitting a proposal early. We prefer that they not be submitted late. Fire code update committee, as you were saying, we do have one vacancy for an architect. Craig Burgess has been nominated for that, and he has agreed to fill that role if the commission is okay with that.
I didn't see his resume, but as long as the chairman is good with him.
I am good with Craig Burgess.
Okay, good.
Obviously, he was here for quite some time and did.
Oh, Craig is the past.
Craig is the past.
State building.
Okay. I thought I recognized the name, but
Perfect. So, yeah, I would be,
That's
be
better.
acceptable to having him.
that's better.
Correct. So, yeah.
I'll make a motion to appoint Craig Burgess to the committee.
Second.
Hey, hold on. With that one, we also have to update the bylaws to include his membership. Do you want to amend that motion to also update the bylaws with that?
Sounds great.
Okay.
So we have a first and second. We'll have to take a roll call.
Just a second. Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Height?
Yes.
Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Patarino?
Yes.
Vice Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Porter?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. He is on committee. Bylaws will be updated.
Next would be the lift device update committee.
Matt, you here?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm online though.
Okay. You want to talk about lift device committee, or you want me to just give a quick overview?
If you could just provide a quick overview, that'd be great. I don't have any notes in front of me.
Okay. So the lift device committee continues its rulemaking review. We do have 2 new members for consideration. And again, we'll need to amend the bylaws to reflect that. But we're getting pretty low on those. So the previous state inspector resigns. And so we have 2 new members, Mr. Mayokaya and is it Hendricks, Matt? I can't remember the other one.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Luis Mayo Correa and Tom Hendricks, both IDHS employees.
Yes, so if the commission is comfortable with adding those to the committee, we can continue that work.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the revision to the membership and bylaws and add those 2 members.
I'll second it. Yeah, first and second.
One question before we vote. There was some discussion at the prep meeting about there might need to be a change to the quorum numbers for that committee. Is that something we need to consider as well?
I mean, we can lower it, yeah. I believe that it's currently 3 or 4. I don't have those in front of me.
It's 3
It's
in
4.
the bylaws. It's 3 in the bylaws, Mike.
Okay.
I'm looking at it right now. It's in front of me.
Are those the amended ones? We might have already.
Yeah.
I believe that we amended it.
Okay, yeah, I think the current ones have it at 4 and we were gonna amend it to 3.
Yeah, so I offer to approve the bylaws as written, which includes the 3 years.
Okay. Thank you.
Or the 3 people. I'm sorry.
Second that.
For quorum, yeah.
So there's been a first and a second to approve the 2 new members and to change the bylaws to have 3 in quorum.
Okay, Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Height?
Yes.
Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Patarino?
Yes.
Vice Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Porter?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Zang?
Yes.
All right. Those are good. Rule readoptions, we do have a current notice of public comment period for the rules that we're currently under review. There's a link to those in the agenda and in the meeting materials. I believe that runs through tomorrow. And then number policy documents, the routine repairs on pressure vessel item that was presented before the commission is now in the Indiana Register, and that has been linked online in 2 places on the IDHS site, and is also in the meeting materials, and there is a link to that item in the agenda. Thank you.
Moving on to variances.
Okay. First one up is 2401.445 Homes Auburn.
Yes. Jordan Owens with MKM Architecture and Design here to speak on behalf.
All right, sir, go ahead.
So this project has been in front of the commission for a couple of months now. It has been tabled multiple times. We previously were requesting variance to both omit sprinklers from the building and omit renovation to provide 1 hour fire ratings between dwelling units in a building that was originally built in the 80s as a R1 motel occupancy and is being renovated to transition to an R2 transitional living occupancy. We have since issued an addendum to the state, to the ACDR, to indicate that we will be adding an NFPA 13R sprinkler system throughout the building to eliminate the need for the first variance request related to this fire protection. We are still, though, asking for the variance to not be required to go back into the building, creating and create the true 1 hour fire rated separations between dwelling units, specifically in areas where there's bathtubs on the demising walls. Everywhere else, the walls and ceilings will be constructed to meet the fire rating requirements of the code, other than in the areas where existing bathtubs are backed up against demising walls and the drywall was not installed behind them in the original construction. So we are still requesting that variance related to the fire ratings to be granted.
I believe that's what we were asking for when we spoke last time, past couple times. If they're putting put a sprinkler system in, so I don't know how anybody else feels about that, but I understand the age of the structure. I would vote to approve it with the fire sprinkler system in and give them that variance for not maintaining those particular walls.
I would accept that. You're okay with it?
Yes. So it's been a first and a second.
Commissioner Cook? Yes. Commissioner Height?
Yes.
Chairman?
Yes.
Commissioner Patriano?
Yes.
Vice Chairman?
Yes, and Daz, I'll note that Commissioner Crisp is online as well now.
Oh, okay, thank you. Commissioner Crisp, are you online? Did you hear the vote?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Porter?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Yes.
Commissioner Zander.
Yes.
All right, that one's approved.
You've been approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. 24/231, Selking International, Fort Wayne. Oh, looks like the proponent requests tabling again. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Motion to table.
Second.
Motion second to table, roll call.
Yeah, give me just a second to get the table. Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Chris?
Yes.
Commissioner Heck?
Yes.
Chairman?
Yes.
Commissioner Patriano?
Yes.
Vice Chairman?
Yes.
Commissioner Porter?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Yes.
Commissioner Zander?
Yes.
All right, that one is tabled. All right, looks like next up we have 240324 downstairs security door, Evansville.
Yes, I'm Brian Gocher with Oak Hill Baptist Church, here to speak on behalf.
All right, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, we are requesting a variance for what is called an emergency exit. I believe we are trying to have access control on our weekly childcare area. So for security purposes, so we want to tie that access control into our fire panel in the event of a fire alarm. That door would release. That's the variance we're seeking.
I do not remember the conversation we had last month. Was it not that we were concerned having the delay there on the door with children in there? I thought that was the conversation.
So,
I forgot to bring my notes from last month.
We didn't have a proponent last month.
so
That's why we
you're going
tabled it.
to add
Oh, there was nobody
I was
here.
just looking, yeah.
Okay,
We didn't have any
maybe that was
proponents. This is
another
the
one.
first time.
dead end, I'm sorry.
We didn't have a proponent last month. That's why we tabled it.
That was another one we had similar. Yeah.
Yes.
So you're saying that dead end corridor would be 35 feet long. How many children do you have?
In the facility, about 60 to 80, depending on the census for the day. So that area is not regularly used for our childcare. They do pass through that area to go to the gymnasium, but that's entering into the childcare area. It goes up the stairs to the childcare area. That's why we want to secure that area to keep anybody that's in the church building away from that, that's not authorized to be in there.
So is that their second means of egress, or do they have another means of egress as well? Did you say, I'm sorry?
I mean, there are other exits from that hallway. I don't know what plans you have, but there's an exit down the hallway out the front of the building, and there's also I don't know if you consider an exit, but there is a way into the gymnasium from there as well.
Yeah, and all those doors, right, they just have panic hardware. There's no security type locks that delay the doors.
Correct. All of those are free from the access control would only be on that door leading into the childcare area.
You're gonna tie that into the fire alarm and sprinkler system, correct?
Excuse me?
And you are tying that, you said you are tying that into the fire alarm and sprinkler system, is that correct?
Correct. We work with Sonatrol. That's our firing monitoring system. We've spoken with them, and they're going to tie in the access control system to the fire panel. So there's a fire pull station right near there. There's a smoke detector right in that same area. So I feel confident if there was a fire that we'd be able to trigger the alarm one way or the other, and that door would release. It's going to be a magnetic lock will be used to release that door.
I'm still confused on what the plan is showing. The plan is showing a door that's adjacent to a stair. And so is this a first floor plan and the childcare is on the second floor?
Correct. Yes. Am I able to share? I have additional pictures here. I don't know if I can share those with you.
Yeah.
Because this looks like a lower level.
Correct.
Looks like a lower level.
Correct. That is lower level. The upstairs is the childcare area. That leads directly to the hallway where the childcare is.
Is the childcare area in the fellowship space?
No, the childcare area is upstairs.
Okay, because we only have one plan here.
Correct. Yes. I apologize. We have had several building additions. We had this was built in the childcare was built in 1987, and then we had a 2008 edition, which changed. The fellowship space is not what the original 1987 plans show. I don't know if I can share my screen or not, but
I think
If you try and share, I should be able to approve it.
there's this is the upstairs hallway. If you can see my screen, the stairwell comes up, and then all these are childcare rooms, and then that's the exit out the back door. This exits into a courtyard here.
What are the two rooms used for within that 35-foot corridor? Well, actually, I guess
Yeah.
there's three rooms. Is it bathrooms? Is one
So
of them?
yeah, so these
They're
are
not labeled.
correct. These are two bathrooms here, and then this room's a storage maintenance closet right here. So this is not used other than the restrooms are used periodically.
Last time, too much. Where's the childcare room?
So if the door, if that hallway was shortened to that wall, would you still need a variance? Because you're going to be closer to that egress at that point, the way I'm looking at it. I gotta put my glasses back on.
So the construction is existing currently.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They would come back here. This door is here. I can't see why you'd even need the variance.
And then there's an exit over here to get out.
Without here.
It almost like
That's
a
35.
versus
Usually being about 18 foot.
childcare's back here.
I don't know why you would
This is a
need
sanctuary though. They probably, this was like a stage, so they
Oh, I
probably.
see.
just swing.
Oh, yeah.
For them to.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's over by 15. But if that door was moved
Yeah.
to this existing outside wall, that's right before the stairs.
Here.
what's the occupancy of the?
It says they have 60
to 80.
I don't know what they're supposed to have.
Well, it's supposed to be swinging out.
And I would assume that it's a.
Probably not because of the occupancy. They wouldn't have to.
So it would be.
I'm assuming they don't have that many kids.
Church and then I think, the childcare, so it would be an I, so it would be an institutional.
Could be wrong, but yeah.
Which would trigger the fire alarm and sprinkler system. Right.
They don't have a sprinkler system.
They do.
Oh, they do.
They have you have a full fire sprinkler system And a fire alarm system, is that correct?
No, the 2008 edition, which has the worship center is all sprinkled. The 1987 edition is not sprinkled. It just has connected smoke detectors to the fire panel.
And so what is in that area?
I'm sorry?
So what is in that area?
The area where we're seeking the variance is not sprinkled.
Okay, so that's why you can't use one of the exceptions.
Yeah.
To extend it 50 feet. If I'm reading this right.
Yeah, but the church is sprinkled.
There are there are portions of it that are sprinkled. Yes.
Your childcare, so is that a ministry daycare or is that a licensed daycare?
Yeah, so we're a ministry daycare through I believe Lisa West, our director, is on the call as well. She could maybe tell you about our licensing. I'm not really familiar with that, to be honest. Lisa, can you speak to that?
Yeah, hi, I'm Lisa West. I'm the director of the childcare. We are registered ministry, so we do have oversight from the state. They were actually here just yesterday, and we do have visits from fire marshal. Our local fire marshal is Adam Kostelak, I think. The whole purpose of the variance, even applying for it, was because of that length of that hallway there. It was just too long to be okay with putting the security system in from our previous fire marshal, Matt Halsey.
Okay. So then that's why they're not sprinkled in that areas, because they're daycare ministry, which would require for any other kind of childcare.
Well, and that area was installed. That area was built in 1987.
Was it built for childcare?
Not originally. It was built for a church. The childcare was started in the late 90s, I believe, early 2000s.
Okay. So you had separation between those. So you didn't have to sprinkle the area, correct?
Correct.
And then you turned it into a childcare, which would require sprinklers, but since you're day ministry, you're not required to do that.
Correct.
The area with the corridor, what's the occupancy of that area? Like what?
Yeah. Don't look like that.
You're asking me what the occupancy is?
Yeah. So the upstairs is the child care center, which would be the I-4 occupancy, if I'm understanding this right. So what's the occupancy of this first floor area?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know that we've had that corridor occupancy rated, or at least not to my knowledge. I just know our worship center has been occupancy rated for up to 800.
Well, I meant like what is the use of that area?
Oh, I understand. It's a pass-through area. So our childcare classes would use it to pass through to get to the gymnasium. No more than one class at a time would walk, one or maybe two would walk through that area. So you're not talking any more than 20 kids at one time using that stairwell to pass through.
But what, like all those rooms, what are those rooms used for?
So there's two bathrooms that are just off of the stairwell there. The room next to the room next to the
You said that's storage.
That's storage. This is a kitchen area here. And then these are classrooms that aren't used by the daycare. These are church classrooms used for Sunday school. And so the daycare only uses the children are only in the gymnasium, which is that big area with the stage. That's the gymnasium / worship area. And then the teachers use the kitchen occasionally to wash dishes and things like that. But the children just pass through that hallway.
Also known as the fellowship area?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you gotta look at his
That
screen.
gymnasium, is that sprinkled then?
So there's the
Yes.
gymnasium, which isn't shown in the
Gymnasium.
drawing.
Okay.
So they
Gymnasium
added this
is-
exit to the gymnasium.
Sprinkled with
All
the
right.
church. And then.
Correct. This is all sprinkled. This is a 2008 edition, and this area here is all sprinkled.
And then that daycare area is not sprinkled, but do you have a fire alarm in that daycare area?
Correct. Everything is under a fire alarm, and it's checked by the fire marshal.
Well, yeah, and you have Sonatrol maintain it, is that correct, the fire alarm?
Correct.
They're gonna do the actual inspection, testing, maintenance of it?
Yes.
Correct. Sonatrol does the annual inspection and whatever's needed.
Okay.
Hate the fact there's 60 to 80 kids in there, and you ask them to pass through double the amount of corridor space. Well, again, we're not here to figure out if it's there. But again, if that door, again, if these are only used bathrooms, if that door was put here, you no longer have the 35-foot, down the stairs.
He took it down already. I'm just wondering if they put another door. I mean, there's.
That's what I'm wondering, to shorten the corridor.
They can shorten the corridor,
That's,
then they don't need a variance.
but what it does, it'd close off the two bathrooms, but if the bathrooms are rarely used.
Just the whole thing, just with that many children,
I just had, yeah,
and you have a dead-end corridor, and then you have a door, even though it, it's on the security system, but it's leading into that lower level, for goodness sakes. You're going through the building.
and are these are children of all ages that use this corridor? We're
Correct.
talking
Yeah. Yeah.
infants.
Mostly preschool children. Correct. The exit out of the corridor into that hallway will not be obstructed. And all the teachers are, of course, they have key fobs and things to enter and have access to that area.
How far, I'm just curious, how far, if there was an exterior door on the end of that corridor, how far is that floor above grade?
That I don't know. That's underground. I mean, that's underground.
On the first floor? Because we're talking about the first floor.
Correct. It's partially underground. It's situated where behind the building, it's underground, and then it slopes, the ground slopes down, and it's level on the front. It's ground level on the front.
What do you think? I mean, there's multiple ways you can get around a variance here by just spending a little bit of money, right? Even if it's below grade, you can still create an area well, still stairs that lead up from that. Is it a possibility of putting another door in the corridor to stop that dead end corridor? Now, again, you have restrooms on the other side, but I understand it's a function use, but I don't know. I'm just not comfortable with that many children and putting, even if you have it tied to the security, leaving kids, because they're just naturally going to go down into that basement. That's what's going to happen. And that's a lot of children. If there's a problem on the lower level, could they be leading themselves into a fire?
Well, there's not 60 to 80 children down in that area. There's about 80 children daily in the whole building. They can only have one, maybe two classes in the gym at one time because of space usage based on, Lisa could speak to this more intelligently, but because of space usage based on our rating, we can't have multiple classes in certain spaces.
Yeah, so the daycare, just to clarify, the daycare is not located on the plans that you see on that level. It is not, it is located on an upper level, but the upper level, due to the grade of the land, is also not like a second story. It's all on ground level. So on the level that we have the daycare, there's 3-4 different ways to get out in case of a fire. This is when we take our children to the gym for indoor playtime, which is not even every day. If the weather's nice, they're outside, they're not in the gymnasium. We go down this set of stairs that we're talking about here, walk through the corridor, and then into the big worship area that on the map that you guys have was labeled Fellowship Hall, but has since been changed. So it is just a walkthrough, basically. There would be no security measures on the inside of the stairwell. It would just be going from the corridor into the stairwell, like Brian said, to keep anybody on the church side from gaining access to the childcare. Once in the gym, because of group size, we can only have a total of 20 to 24 children at max in the gym at a time. And then, once they're in the gym, they have all sorts of exits out to the parking lot, outdoors, if there is a fire. It's just that this corridor is too long. And like Brian said, it is underground, so I don't know that there would be any way to change that construction to create an outside door, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of all the other.
Like I said, if there's
could you put the second floor plan up again, please?
Sure. Let me find it here. Let's see. This is just a partial. This is what overlaps the. This is what overlaps that area. It's right on top of that area downstairs. As you can see, there's restrooms sitting right on top of the other restrooms, and then the stairwell is right there. And then this is the rear entrance of this is ground level here. This rear entrance, rear exit.
Those are all childcare. Okay, see the double doors. This is all. Here's the bathroom we're talking about. Is that the color door we're talking about now?
Those others. So I think this is one level up. See, I think this is technically the second floor, but with all that grade you keep seeing there's gas effect exit outside, but I'm not sure.
What are you guys thinking?
Well, on the second floor, they're okay on egress, correct?
Looks that way.
Looks that way. So they're not gonna be going down for, and if there's a fire.
Correct. The fire plan does not have them going down. That's not an emergency exit from that floor.
It's only an avenue to get downstairs, and you're wanting to lock that door downstairs so nobody can get upstairs,
Correct.
right?
And correct. And tie that
Yeah,
into the fire panel as well.
And if there's a fire downstairs, they can go out or they can go up that stair because it's gonna unlock.
Correct. Yes.
I think that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, sounds like it.
So fire upstairs, no problem, they're going out. Downstairs, it's gonna unlock, so you've got your
You'll be able to get
two
out.
means to get out.
And is there a pull station by that door?
Correct. Yeah. Here's the actual, here's a picture of it. Here's the actual room right here. So there's the bathrooms and then there's a pull station. So this is the door we want to put the access control on. And then there's the pull station right there. There's a smoke detector right there above that area as well.
Is that the second floor or the?
No, this is the lower floor, the door we want to put the access control. We'd like to put the access control on.
Unlock.
Correct.
Do you have a photo further away?
Let me show you here. Hold on. This is yes, this is looking down that hallway from where you turn the, no, I'm sorry, that's the other way. That's turned around. Let's see here. What do I have? No, that's the furthest away that I have from that angle.
Just scroll through your photos. I just want to see if I can mentally visualize it.
Sure. So that's looking towards the kitchen, looking towards that maintenance room. If you're standing by the bathrooms, correct. And that's down that hallway to exit the front of the building. And then if you turn left, that goes down to the worship center. Those are the doors to the worship center right there. And that goes outside there. So, yeah, sorry, I didn't get a picture further back from that. That's the furthest back that I have right there. Does that help at all?
Yeah.
So twofold, it's adding security.
Yeah, and they got a pull station so that if it were another reason besides fire, so the alarms weren't going off, they could pull the pull station.
True. Get that door.
Is there also that, wasn't there another variance where they had a fail safe where if you push on it for
So you
5
had a
seconds?
delayed egress, so if you push on the door, they could do it that way, have a delayed egress on the door. Typically, I think it's 15 seconds. Is what most delays are set at. So they could continuously push on the door if it's a child, because they might not know to pull the alarm. They might be scared to pull the alarm.
Or the alarm's too tall, right?
The alarms are, pull stations are at level, kids can pull them.
It's gotta be a teacher. Yeah.
That looked taller.
It should be roughly 4 to 5 feet off the ground.
Correct. I believe that's around 4 feet. Because I think that's an 8 foot, might be 8 or 9. I can't remember, but yeah.
48, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd feel a lot more comfortable if there was a delayed egress fail safe on that. Because you're gonna have an exit sign there and I don't know, I guess I'm always thinking of what happens when the alarm pulls and it doesn't open.
So did you get that? So Mr. Cook would be looking at possibly approving it tied into the alarm systems, as well as having on that that pan and cardboard door would be a push bar that would have delayed egress that they could push on the bar that the door would open for them after 15 seconds.
Okay, would that null and void our security system though?
No. So I've seen this on other doors before where they have security systems. So basically that, I mean, someone would have to hold that door handle or latch down for 15 seconds until the door would open.
Okay.
I mean, you're gonna have your staff that's gonna know what to do, but what if you have just kids down there? It also requires signage on that side of the door. So are you worried that someone's gonna open the door and let somebody in?
Correct. We want to keep anyone from the church side from going into the childcare area on during the week and on Sundays. We're trying to keep people from accessing that area in case there's an incident where someone is trying to go through an active shooter situation or somebody that's being aggressive. We're trying to keep that area locked down and secure so that we don't have unauthorized people entering our area where there's children.
So if you put delayed egress on that door, you can alarm that as well.
Exactly.
So that if someone tries to open that door, it's going to go into alarm as well.
Okay.
And they'd have a 15-second delay before the door would actually open. Or your staff, knowing what's going on, I mean, they would have the knowledge to be able to pull the pull station and make it happen quicker to release the door if you had an active shooter event. Or you'd have a child down there that would still be able to get out because they could see the signage to push on the door for 15 seconds.
Sure. Yeah. I don't think that's my preference, but if that's what I need to do, then I'll do it.
How do you feel about that? I mean, that's just a suggestion from me. I know you were talking about delayed egress door. I know they want to keep it locked all the time, it sounds like, and just drop it out with the fire alarm system, which we've allowed to other places, but I understand the thing here with kids, but kid would have to push on the door for at least 15 seconds to go to try and open that door. Seems like an attorney sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, and
somebody else has anything else in bigger?
No, I'm not okay with that.
I mean, either way, you're concerned about security, whether it's a delayed egress or the pull station. Like, if somebody wants to get in, all they got to do is pull the thing. So
Correct. I understand that. Yes.
the delayed egress doesn't make it any less safe than that, in my opinion.
I agree.
Okay.
And if you alarm it, you're gonna know someone's.
Yeah, you'd want it alarmed so that if somebody
It's trying to cause harm.
yeah, tries to cause harm, whether they pull it or push it for delayed egress, you alarm it so that it goes off. But
Okay.
you're not making it any less secure by doing the delayed egress. You're just giving another option to get the door open.
Okay. I understand.
I think you're right.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure there's probably other alternatives if you don't like that option of, you know, you could blow out one of those, that room right there next to the corridor, and then your corridor shortens up in a way.
Right.
And then you don't have an issue, right? But
No, we can do the delayed egress. That shouldn't be a problem.
then I'll motion to approve with the inclusion of the delayed egress and the
15-second delayed egress with an alarm.
With an alarm.
alarm. And then also what you already offered, which was the, if the alarm goes off.
Tying into the fire
Tying-
Magnetic lock.
Proper signage.
Proper signage.
Yeah, they have to have signage on the door that would say must hold down or something. It says something like that, hold down for 15 seconds.
So you guys get all that?
Yes.
Yeah, 15 second delay egress, tied into alarm system with proper signage.
I decided that.
Did you get the alarmed 15-second delay egress?
I have inclusion of 15 second delay egress with, tie into the alarm system and proper signage.
I think he also wanted the actual door appliance to be alarmed as well.
Okay.
So if someone pushes on the bar, it's going to go into alarm as well.
Okay.
The delayed egress works by itself.
Right. So if the alarm doesn't go off, they can still.
Right, I mean, alarm has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
The delayed egress.
Yeah, but it's another option. It's just. It's another option.
You can't have both. You can't have the mag lock and the delayed egress at the same time. It's two different.
They can't make that work? You don't think? I'm sorry.
I'm trying to follow along. You can only have one locking mechanism at a time. And so you can't have a mag lock with a delayed egress device. The delayed egress is a mechanical, my terms, mechanical only. And it does make an alarm typically, and again, this is hardware stuff. It only makes an alarm at that, because it's like a back of a restaurant.
Yeah,
right. Now, I'm sure that a fire alarm company can come in and somehow wire it to a sensor that it could go to a general alarm in the building. Oh, I'm sure you can make that work. But I don't necessarily see that. It's typically just a local alarm. But I'm assuming you could probably wire that to the building alarm, wherever you want to go. But you can't have a magnetic lock. First of all, there'd be two different locking mechanisms on the same. And the pole station typically only operates the mag lock. The pole station does not operate the delayed egress. But again, it gets, I'm sure somebody could wire it up that would work, but that's not typically how you see it.
No, I realize that, but I wasn't thinking.
You're
right. I wasn't thinking about the.
And again, I'm kind of following, but I didn't know if everybody was on the same page. So
I think the annunciator would be able to be wired into it. But again, you know, here, we're here to either grant a variance or not grant a variance. We're not really here to design the situation. We can give help where need be, and I think that's what we're trying to do here. But maybe it's tabled again for a month, and you know, checking with Sonatrol to see if this is doable with what we're trying to help out with might be the best way.
The mag lock was for their security, right? Our concern is, of course, not their building security, but like safety.
Yeah, so they're looking for safety to have the mag lock so that someone can't get in.
Yeah, so we could.
And the mags would drop out.
Yeah.
If the alarm goes off.
Yeah, but we could approve it with what we need as a variance, not being concerned about the mag lock portion of this. Because again, that's their property here, right, for security reasons.
I mean, we can always say if this is to be achieved, or if this can be achieved, again, it just go up to the electrical engineer, whether it's possible or not.
I think we're just trying to do double duty.
Yeah.
Right.
Because most time it's, you know, so you go to a Alzheimer's unit, those are always deleted.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, so someone has to-
But they're individual alarms also, so I'm sure it can be done, but if there is any question about it. Yeah.
Also, units or hospitals where they have a delayed egress on the door. So
Magnetic
that
trap, it's held by
patients,
12-volt DC relay.
but that the doors open up.
Yeah.
Without power or with the alarm going on.
Right. I'm pretty sure there. But again, I'm a line vault guy, but
Most of them in a hospital or a dementia unit are not delayed egress. If they're trying to keep the residents or patients in there, they're a mag lock tied into the fire alarm, which is allowed by NFPA 101. Getting out of the building, out of a general area, those would usually have delayed egress. You wouldn't mag lock getting out of the building. So mag lock on this location would keep you from having access to get out of the building, but once you get up there, you would be able to just exit freely.
What's that?
Okay, so.
Overthinking.
Yeah.
From life safety and what they're doing, if there's fire, it's gonna unlock, right?
Correct.
So you've got your egress.
Yeah, so if they lose power and or if they have a fire alarm, pull station, sprinkler system go off, the doors will automatically unlock. But I'm just gonna design the doors for them, but that would be the only way it would unlock under that, with those couple of conditions.
That's our concern, right?
That's all our concern, really. But theirs is security as well, so they're trying to figure out another way to open that door if they need to. Yeah, you're right. How we're concerned with this, can you get out and do that? Fire.
And they can with the mag.
With the mag lock kind of.
I mean, if that's comfortable, I can retract my motion and people, we can do a vote on that or whatever, but again, we're
all the other things that can happen in the building. And I know they're looking at it that way just because they don't want somebody to come up there and push the door and be able to let somebody else in.
right. Yeah. But I mean, there's other, I mean, if that's their goal, there's other, I mean, they could lock the double doors and restrict access to this area, this whole area, I mean.
Sure.
So like their question is, can we have that dead end corridor with the door there? And, I don't know the answer. I mean, I guess I'm comfortable if there's like a backup to the backup, but if it's, I mean, I'm also not an expert on these kind of doors. So if everybody, if there's another motion to be had, I can retract mine.
Seems to me we're trying to design for
Yeah.
or that. It seems like they should come back to us, but maybe better detailed information, talk to their consultants, talk to somebody who can see if they can do all this.
Yeah, I mean, if they go to a door company, we use a couple different places in town. And usually I do discuss it with one of those guys, typically to say, hey, can this be done? And they tell me, yeah.
And add something to their submission here. And also get all the plans in here too. Because that would be helpful. I would make a motion to table and have them come back with more detailed information, see if they can do it.
I'd second that motion. But you'd have to retract.
I retract my motion.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Gotcha?
Yes.
So did you hear that, what we were just discussing?
Yes.
Tabling this at this time and check with Sonatrol and whoever you decide to work on your doors or who you have that perform work on your doors.
Yes.
To see if what we're talking about is a doable situation.
Okay. No
And
problem.
then bring that back to us next month and we'll see if that can be done or not.
Okay, thank you so much for your help.
And submit the plans in here, so we can see them next month.
Correct, I will do that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, I guess we have to table it, right? Make a roll call.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Chris?
Yes.
Commissioner Height?
Yes.
Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Pellegrino?
Yes.
Vice Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Porter?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Zhang?
Yes.
Alright, I'll say.
Thank you. Thanks, sir.
Thank you for your time.
All right, moving on. Next up, we have 240327 Point Biofarm, Indianapolis.
Is anyone here for Point Biopharma? Anyone online?
I'll make a motion to table.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Chris?
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Height?
Yes.
Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Pellegrino?
Yes.
Vice Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Porter?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Zhang?
Yes.
That one's tabled. Next up, we have 240337 Nipro Pharma Packaging Edition, Westport.
Melissa Tupper, RTM Consultants. The owner was able to get a hold of the farmer to the north, and they've got an easement agreement for 50 feet. So I'll have over 80 feet from the existing building and over 100 feet from the addition to the property line. So they will meet the unlimited area requirements, and we don't need the variance. So we'd like to withdraw.
All right. Thank you. This one.
That one is withdrawn. So next up, we have 240338 Fireburn Ministries.
Good morning, gentlemen. I was here last month for your meeting. Pastor Josh Sanders, pastor to the churches there in Linville, and also the director of Firebrand Ministries. Firebrand Ministries is a recovery program for men that seek to live free from substance abuse. We house 7 men there at that location, 208 North Main Street, Linville, Indiana. They're all in a dorm area, like barrack style. There's no separation. We came last month seeking a variance from being required to install a sprinkler system. It was the commission's suggestion to get a building designer to give their opinion or their recommendation, see if they had any other accommodations. My proposal last month was to add an additional exit to the building. Several of the commission thought that was a good idea, but wanted to get a professional opinion. So I do have a letter from a building designer stating about the exit. If I may, I'll give that to. Then I also got I should say, the actual floor plan or the actual blueprint. Mine was just my artist's work. This is actually shows the exit that the designer suggested on that northeast corner of the building. So basically, I feel like I did what I was asked to do, so I'm still seeking to put that additional exit in and asking if that would be sufficient for our purpose of use.
So did you get a change of use for it? So, and I'm trying to recall everything we spoke about on it. So it was used as a mercantile at one point.
It was
That's what your notes say. And you're that.
It was, the original purpose of the building was, there was a business and the family lived in the home, so, I mean.
So you'd have to get a change of use. So
yeah, that's where it
changes
is.
of use would be either from a, because I know we discussed this at one time, from a class 2 structure to a class 1 structure. Because now you're changing it to a different use as from a private residential home to a group home or commercial type structure to house people in, correct?
Well, we consider ourselves as a class 2 structure, because we're
But the state is not.
Yeah.
But the state is not. So just because you consider yourself, that doesn't mean that that's what you are, you know?
So if I don't change the use of the building, then basically this is denied, the variance is denied.
Well, correct. You'd have to get a change of use for the structure, which, we need to protect the people within that structure, which is why we're asking for a sprinkler system. I think we also asked for you to do a chapter 34 review.
Yes.
You declined on that as well.
I declined on that.
I thought so.
Well,
maybe I'm mistaken, but I know there was a chapter
I'm not
34.
declined on anything.
But did you do a chapter?
But I don't even recall the chapter 34 being suggested. I was told a building designer, to get a building designer to come and look at the building to see if they would add any more accommodations.
We made the request. No, we made the request that a chapter 30 architect be involved and do a chapter 34 analysis so we could see the different things that you might have to do. And then we said, out of that list of things, then we could start discussing whether we could give a variance on all of them or some of them, or start looking at it from that point of view. That's what.
Perhaps I missed that then, because I heard building designer. I don't remember the term 34, chapter 34, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't said, but I don't.
Well, so the staff comments, so we have the commission prohibits a building from changing its character, use, classifying into a different occupancy group unless the building complies with all rules for new construction or be evaluated using chapter 34. So I believe that's what we had asked for.
Yes, we did.
Was the request is.
Well, I'm navigating this by myself, so I'm not, schooled on.
No, I understand, but I mean, that's why we tell people, get an architect involved. That's your best bet.
Well, that's.
And so this.
Like I said, that's what I thought I did. But,
This just talks about, this isn't what we even asked for.
Okay.
At all.
Well, I'll accept your denial. I appreciate it. Thank you. Is that fine? Because I'm not, I don't know that I need to do anything else. I don't enjoy continuing to come up here.
I understand, and we're just trying to make sure that the people inside that structure.
I totally
that you are compliant.
Yep.
Because
we're operating this facility just like over 150 different facilities in the state of Indiana. So we're doing nothing different than the other 150 that are doing just like we are. These guys are physically able. They're just like a family. They're no different than a traditional family, except for, they're not related. We've had the same people in the same house for 7 months. They all required to get employment. They all work. They're all physically capable. We're just not on the same page.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
I'm from Evansville.
Yes, sir.
And I do chapter 34s and I do places like yours. And I'd be happy to help you with yours.
All
Okay. I'd rather you not just say, I'm done.
Well, I'm not saying I'm done. I'm saying that if the state's aware that there's already been the process, your attorney over here could probably tell you more about that, of discrimination and the Fair Housing Act. I'm sorry, sir.
You said the attorney.
Yes, no. About the process of the ACLU and.
Yeah, so I'll just update the commission, but I don't want the commission to act. I think it's important for the commission to stay in its lane. I think Mr. Patarino would agree with this. They adjudicate state law and they evaluate the variance based on the merits. It's Mr. Sanders, correct?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Sanders is facility, Firebrand Ministries, has filed a federal lawsuit against IDHS for violations of the Fair Housing Act, the Americans with Disabilities Act, and the Rehabilitation Act. We are litigating that with them, and we will continue to do so. But I don't think that should affect the commission's approach to this, because it evaluates state law and looks at both the building law and the fire safety law and grants a variance if they see fit. We will defend the lawsuit in federal court, but I think this commission should charge forward with its task because it's involved with the federal litigation. So, Mr. Sanders, I encourage you to work with the commission. If you choose not to, that's certainly your decision. You are represented by the ACLU, but this is part of the process. We're providing this forum to you, and I think the commission is being pretty reasonable with you, and I would encourage you to work with them. If you don't want to and you want to withdraw your variance request, that's certainly your choice. But I think most of these members are willing to work with you, notwithstanding, the federal litigation. That's a separate, distinct issue. They're still happy to work with you and consider the variance, and I encourage you to go that route.
Tyler, I'd like to add that that's exactly what we're trying to do. And I personally would prefer to table. Again, if you've got a potential consultant here who's offering their services to look at this from a Chapter 34 point, which is what we asked for last month, we want to find a way to make this work. And my suggestion is that, and I'm making a motion to table instead of denying, which I think is a mistake. If you've got other people helping you that are lawyers, why not let a building consultant assist too? Because we are trying to find a way to help you.
So I think the difficulty here is that the position that from our position and from our attorney's position, we're Class 2 structure. From your position, we're Class 1 structure. So if we don't change from a Class 2 to a Class 1, then the commission, if I'm hearing you right, the variance will be denied. Is that correct? Well, no, I mean, if we do not, did I not say that clearly?
I don't think you are. I think, so, and I don't want to get into the merits of the federal litigation, but you're complaining federal law that could be applicable with substantive state laws, whether it's a Class 1 or Class 2 structure. There may be a federal statutory protection for you that would preclude us from enforcing certain law against you, but that doesn't change your classification. Notwithstanding that, the variance process is what it is. It's a give or take, right? The state's going to give a little, and the commission as a separate agency is going to make that decision, and you might have to give a little. So it's a balance. I don't think it's a complete rejection, and that's why I think it's important for you and your facility to work with them. And I think Mr. Patarino really nailed that too. It's that you sought legal counsel, and I have the utmost respect for the ACLU and Mr. Paul. I think he's a fantastic lawyer, but he's not a building official, and he's not an architect or an engineer. There's professionals that can help you there. And maybe there's a meet in the middle ground, right? That would, at some level, move out the federal litigation or allow you to get to where you want to go with less onerous requirements. But I think not cooperating with the commission is certainly your right. It's certainly your right. You have every right to do that, and so is the federal court. That is certainly your right. But I think maybe some middle ground may be a place to go. But it is your right to withdraw it. But I think you're going to get some stuff that you want. The commission is going to get some stuff that they want. That's inherent in any negotiations. So certainly your call.
I think from last meeting, what the commission had said is we discussed a door because it looked like it might not even meet Class 2, but what we suggested was get a Chapter 34 with a design professional that is familiar with that. The door might be one of the things, but we wanted to make sure that we're not just giving you a variance of you need another exit and then find out you have other things that when you would, if you would go to being a Class 1, that you would have a lot of other things that you would need need a variance from. And so that's what we suggested that. So it sounds like you've got, I mean, part of it was I haven't seen the plans. If it's a design professional and from the letter is that they've said they've indicated it appears it meets the wind and snow loads. And that's part of similar what we do for a wedding barn. And I think that's what we suggested to convert from an agricultural, which is a class 2 to a class 1. This is the process. It's not a normal one for a house to this, but I think the commission was willing to look at the 34 and see, is it pretty close to a class 1 already and make those concessions. So I think it sounds like if you've got somebody who will help you on the 34, you'd find out if there's a lot of stuff you would still need to change other than just the door. It might not be much.
We don't know.
We don't know. And that's where we don't know.
Yeah, and I do want to add, there was an administrative case and there was an agreement. And then that IDHS reserved the right to oppose your variances. And our position is we're not going to take a position. We passed to the commission, we're going to let them adjudicate it as they see fit. So we're going to remain completely neutral on it and let you work it out with the commission. So again, you have the opportunity, but it's just leaders.
So, and all I was stated to you was that any code official, most code officials, fire and or building, are going to look at this structure and determine it is the use or the occupancy that you're using it for would change that occupancy from a class 2 structure to a class 1 structure. Otherwise, it wouldn't even be here before us. So obviously you were written up at some point for a violation. You had someone come in that you may need in the future that is going to have to continue to come in and perform inspections for your facility. I don't know how your funding is. It doesn't matter to me how your funding is, but I know a lot of places that fund facilities that they require fire inspections, building inspections on a regular basis. And
we're self-sufficient. I mean, we don't get no funding.
Well, and that's what I said. I didn't know that. So I'm just saying.
Nobody's getting a paycheck. Nobody's.
But obviously you had somebody come in and do an inspection, a fire or building official come in and do an inspection of your facility, and they wrote you up for a few items that you need to do. None other than what I would do in my own city, if we found it, or if someone came to us, or if we found something, or we received a complaint on any of those items where someone was in a house or a group home type situation, that we're going to come in and look at a residential home changing to a class 1 structure. I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but that's what we need to try and figure out, because I just can't tell you that, yeah, we can, approve you not knowing. I've never seen your facility, so it's not, we can look at pictures, but I mean, typically I like to be able to walk into a facility and take a look around. So, but it is. I don't think that it is totally up to you whether you want to withdraw or have us.
I'm not asking to withdraw.
Or have us deny it.
I don't think that there's any doubt that I'm trying to work with the commission. This is my second trip. It takes 2.5 hours to drive up here. I've been dealing with building inspectors and all this for 10 months. Okay, so I'm trying to comply. Just because this is not my specialty, and knowing I've learned more in the last 10 months than I ever wished I would have.
Correct, and we understand that. That's like what Mr. Pavarino suggested.
So I mean, like the council says he would encourage me to work with the commission. I have been doing my best to work with the commission. So
we are too, and that's why. And this is sincere. It's sincere from us that we want to find a way. That's very sincere from all of us. It was last month and it is this month. And all we're asking is, I would like to table it and have this consultant walk through your facility, look at it from a chapter 34, right? And submit that. And by the way, you don't have to drive up here. You see that we have people online through Teams meetings. You can come online through the Teams meeting, both of you can.
I'm in person guy. I'm not a screen guy.
No, I'm not either, by the way. I totally understand it. But that might be the easiest way, but we would like to table. I've made a motion to table.
I would second it.
And I think that's what we would prefer to do. And again, work with you next month and try to figure this out with you.
All right. I'll see you next month then.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Blueprint. You get a second, I'm sorry?
Yeah.
a second. His blueprint.
Your plan, sir. I need to get those back. You guys have need of them? Or
If you want them back, or you can leave
well,
them.
do you have need of them? I mean, if you don't.
We don't.
You folks.
I was wondering, was it just?
Can we look at it for just a second?
Yeah.
Your left.
I'll step back here. You guys got a first and second too. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Mr. Patterson.
Yes.
Vice Chairman.
Yes.
Mr. Porter.
Yes.
Mr. Wagner.
Yes.
Mr. Zach.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Well, wait a minute, we got one more, right, in the table?
We have one more table, yeah.
Yeah, let's finish this table one, then we'll take a 10-minute break. Okay, next up, we have 240339 Marble Home and Fairmont.
Is there anyone here for Marble Home in Fairmont? Or anyone online?
I'll make a motion to table.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Cook,
Yes.
Mr. Chris. Commissioner Chris. Commissioner Wright.
Yes.
Chairman.
Yes.
Mr. Patterson. Yes. Vice Chairman.
Yes.
Mr. Porter.
Yes.
Mr. Wagner.
Yes.
Mr. Zach.
Yes.
All right, let's see. All
right, thank you.
I'm gonna play Scotch roll today.
All right, let's take a, be back at 10:35.
Just got an email from Department of Health Redirection Project that you did. This is. There's a line.
Computer doesn't recognize that public Wi-Fi, so I don't get it. I don't understand. Well, and see, I may want to get that. I'm able to get on, even if the public Wi-Fi isn't in there, it's, right now it's recognizing the secured one. The state computer will let me do it. It does one or the other.
Yeah.
A few years.
Um,
All right, we're gonna start back up again. Start with the new variances.
All right, first one I have up is 240443 A and B, hangar 814 Indianapolis. Some of our staff members have that.
Yes, please.
Okay, guys.
Code requires hangars to have an approved fire suppression system. The request is to allow a fire suppression system to be designed in accordance with FPA 409 2022 edition.
And it was forwarded to you guys because they are wanting to use a newer edition.
There's two parts of this one. And the second part is to allow high expansion foam system to be altered to require manual activation instead of an automatic activation foam system.
And we received a comment form from the LFO. Had we received this comment prior to us making our decision, we would not have forwarded to the commission. But the LFO is okay with this variance.
Yeah, there's two variances for this. This is a large hangar. It's a new hangar out of Indianapolis International Airport. They started designing in 2017 and it took a while to build. So as part of the design, they put in an HFF foam system. By the time we built it, we actually put in a non-PFAS foam. So it's not really the foam. The problem is foam systems in general. Over the past probably 15 years, we've been looking at these foam systems. They're incredibly expensive and they're very easy to accidentally operate. And no matter what we've tried with flame detection, cross detection, protector wire, VESDA systems, we still manage to dump these systems on a regular basis. There's nothing good happens when we dump these systems. PFAS was super bad. New foam is still bad. It's corrosive to the plane environment and we have enough problems with our planes as it is. Accidental discharge costs a fortune. All of the stuff that has to be removed is treated as a hazardous waste, whether it's PFAS or not PFAS, because they can't know for sure that it's not PFAS foam. So for years and years and years, we started with the animal proteins on the foams. You might be old enough to remember that beautiful thing. We got into the high expansion foams, which has the PFAS in it, which work really good. But we don't actually have a lot of fires in airplane hangars. And if we do have fires in airplane hangars, it's not a fuel fire. We very randomly have fuel fires in airplane hangars. So the insurance companies have been looking at the high claims that they paid. The Air Force they're self-insured. They were looking at all the damage that they had done on accidental discharges. So a bunch of people got together there's a white paper, I think I might have attached it, from the insurance companies, and then a sundown policy from the United States Air Force. They've removed all of the foam from all of their hangars and they are just currently using the wet pipe system. They found that the wet pipe system design is good to address all fires. And if you do have a fuel spill, you're assuming that you have a fuel spill and a fire at the same time, which is so far doesn't very often happen at all. If you do have a fire in the building, it's usually away from the planes. Once it becomes structural, then it becomes an issue, but most of our hangars now are not wood construction. So we're not seeing the kind of fires that we had in them. If you have a fuel spill, all of these hangars have a collection system that's meant to collect all of the fire protection water and all of the fuel, and it gets stored in a tank underneath the building so that it can be treated as hazardous waste. These planes use Jet A. The military uses Jet 8. Which just is basically kerosene, the same as the Jet A, so there's no difference, but some people say it's a different fuel. It's not. Jet 8 just has a corrosion inhibitor. So it's basically the same type of thing, a kerosene fire. So what we're looking at in the military is we have gone through and we have removed all the foam system and we're just using 0.2/5. This actually has a higher density because of the design area being 15,000 square foot. So we're asking here is for two different variances, because honestly, they're looking at it after their last accidental discharge and they haven't decided what they want to do yet. There's two choices in here. One is to remove the foam and the generators so that you would just have the wet pipe system, which is what we're doing across the military and in a lot of our new hangars as we evaluate the systems depending on who it is, what their insurance recommends and all that. The second option is to leave the foam in and not pay for the cost, just leave it there, still do it, but not have any automatic activation. So if you do have a fuel spill and a fuel fire, they can pull the one manual pull station that would directly activate the system so that they would put foam on the fuel fire. And that's all in their training regiments and all of that anyways. So most of the time when you bring planes into the hangar, we don't bring planes into the hangar that are full with fuel anyways, because most of the maintenance work that they do in there, they don't want to have that liability. Plane holds a tremendous amount of kerosene. So most of the time when you bring them in, it's very easy to pump the fuel off of a plane. So they pump most of it off, and obviously there's a well so that you don't get flammable mixture in there, but they leave enough in there so that they can move it in and out. But it's not something that's, it's not something we've designed these systems. We've perhaps over-designed them for years. It's costing us a lot of money, not in the original installation, but just in the maintenance of the systems when we have these accidental discharges. And we have a lot of accidental discharges. And you've had quite a few at Fort Wayne Airport too. Across at Grissom, we've had a few. So we've taken all of those out of our military hangars, and that is the current approach that we're looking at. They're looking at the NFPA standard, and they have adjusted it so that now in the new NFPA standard 409, which we adopt just for the fire suppression, in the latest edition, it does give you the option to do a hazard risk analysis and assessment, which is what we've done for this facility, to go to the water only based on what they actually do in the hangar. And this is mainly a storage hangar with just very light maintenance.
And we see that there was a letter from the fire marshal.
Yeah, the airport fire department. We've been working with them. We worked with them on the new hangar and now just with some of the changes that we're making, because currently we're having issues with the old United hangar out there as well. So we've been trying to figure out how we're gonna deal with all the systems on the airport property. Because a lot of them still do have the PFAS, which isn't illegal yet in Indiana, but I assume it's coming.
So you said that two variances are independent of each other?
Yeah, so
if
one would remove the foam system and just leave the water system. The other would leave the foam system in place, but take out all of the automatic activations.
So if we were to approve it, we should put a stipulation that it's not both? You're not doing both?
It can't be both.
Okay.
In implementation, it's really just so that they can go through the cost measures. They didn't want to waste anyone's time. We didn't have variance approval to do this to see what the cost is.
What caused the accidentals? You know?
Yeah. So this one has flame detectors. And lots of things simulate flame, or the flame detectors get misaimed. When we do our testing, they have to be specifically aimed. But all of the circuitry that controls the fire alarm system is electrical. And so a lot of times when they're doing cleaning, with the power washers and everything, one bad power wash ray hits electrical system. It gives you a short in it, which causes an alarm condition and discharges the foam. So they're all accidental, basically by somehow impacting. I mean, when we had the forklift drove into the flame detectors and whatever the electrical current it sent, set off the foam system. But it's amazing how often we dump these things. Which didn't used to be a problem, but now this hazardous waste is, yeah.
So as far as manual activation, is there somebody always on site?
So yeah, so if they're working on the plane, what they would do is they'd have the manual pull station protected, so that if they do get a fuel spill, it would be his job while they're doing the mop up of the fuel spill to, be at the thing in case they do get a spark and the stuff catches on fire. Because it has to be a fuel spill to catch on fire before the foam system does any good. So, And it's a kerosene fire, so it's not an easy fire to set, and once you do set the fire, it's not like a flash flammable like when kerosene burns.
So the variance would be to use one or the other, correct?
They're gonna cost it, and then the insurance company has to do a final review. The insurance company would like them to get rid of the foam. Yeah.
How to say that, because you have two variances, so we're not approving both the variances, so it's just a way to say that we're approving whichever method is utilized.
Is there a reason you can't approve both the variances?
You can approve it both and they're both options to you. And then you just say, one, the motion would be is that,
It just means they'd be in compliance regardless of which path they took.
Right.
now does the NFPA 409, do the new edition you said allows the new, like the wet system?
It does not require you to do foam in a group 1 hangar.
Okay.
If you take the other methods and procedures that they do. We just happen to have them all because honestly, they were all required when you had a foam system anyways. So I think what NFPA committee has done is just kind of say, we know that foam's a problem. We can't just eliminate it yet completely. We're not there yet. But we do want to give you the option because again, all of my military facilities have done it and it's moving more towards not full on maintenance hangars, but just storage hangars.
Is the 409 also have provisions for manual activation?
Yes. And I've had those too, where somebody thinks it's funny to pull a pull station the first time.
So I think you've seen the letter from the LFO, right? To say that if in turn it would be back to a maintenance hangar, that that it would be back to a foam style.
Right, and the only problem is the way that we define maintenance, we would call it heavy maintenance. So every airplane hangar does some maintenance, but heavy maintenance is what's the bigger problem. That's where they're dropping the fuel tanks or, taking the skin off the airplane or doing all of welding. Light maintenance is they take it in there, they may do some panel removal for corrosion evaluation and that kind of thing, but there won't be, it's not like a Boeing hangar or the maintenance facility down the other end of the airport. If they do heavy maintenance, they drive it down to the other end of the airport. So if you wanted to put a condition on that, we won't do any heavy maintenance. It's just the FAA term. That would be okay.
Put the letter in the condition, you okay with that?
Any other discussion?
I'm okay with it.
I would make a motion to approve with the condition that in here to state it as in his letter as heavy maintenance. So that would provide you some ability to, because otherwise they may look at it and say, you're doing maintenance.
Yeah, and the airport, and we can talk to them, but they know the difference because they have the heavy maintenance facility.
I understand that. The inspector that signed this letter may not think that. You know, because you have an inspector that actually wrote this letter.
Mm-hmm.
So per line. So just want to make sure that they are aware of that, of the difference. So they don't walk in and say, well, you're taking a panel off, that's maintenance.
So read that back. What's the motion as written?
So the motion would be to approve with the addition that if they perform heavy maintenance, that the automatic home suppression system will be reinstated. Correct?
Yeah, or you could just say no heavy maintenance shall be performed at the facility.
So get that. So no heavy maintenance is to be performed in this hangar.
Okay.
I'm really allowed to say for the record which hangar it is, but it's not, you know, which hangar it is by the address.
And the letter says, as long as the hangar is a storage hangar. Would you not add that phrase in there?
Well, it's in the letter, so I'm approving the I mean, I guess we're looking at the letter, but just to.
You can differentiate, yeah, you can
A lot of times those attachments, they get lost. So it probably would be best to include that on the letter.
Okay.
Or the condition on the letter.
Are you still deleting them after 1 year?
Yeah, they disappear.
Yeah, so in the definitions for, in 409 and 410, in the NFPA standards, there's a different, storage hangars doesn't just mean like storage. I mean, it means like storage that you park the airplanes in there, but it doesn't mean you don't do minor things to them while they're in the hangar.
But
You
is
move
that
to
what
heavy
he meant?
maintenance.
Yeah, is that what he meant when he wrote this? I guess I don't know that. I would hope so, but I don't know that, right? As long as the hangar is a storage hangar, lower cap, no, it's not capitalized, so.
Here's what we can do. If I would appreciate it if you could approve them just so that we can get pricing. But I will talk to Chief Irvine and have him make a clarification. And you can always bring it back up at the next commission hearing if he disagrees.
Yes,
We can still do that, right?
If we had released that, we would have sent out a proposed condition and we would have put exactly what he has on his letter. That would have given you the opportunity to say, well, you know, blah, 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 then you could have worked it out with the LFO. As it stands.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like, if you're just wanting to condition it on the LFO's approval of whatever it is, you can just add that to the condition.
Okay.
There you go.
And we'll just get him to write a clarification for your records.
Correct. Yeah. That'll work.
This is my first.
Second.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Chris? Mr. Hyde?
Yes.
Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Tyrone?
Yes.
Vice Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Porter?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Zane?
Yes.
Then we have 240444 A and B warehouse alteration at Adamsville.
All right, we sent both these to you. A has to do with request to remove the fire suppression, the existing fire suppression system, and B is a request to allow the firewall to not be structurally independent. The reason why we sent this to you is because the LFO, at least has made, the emails attached have indicated that they are not for this variance.
What was the last sentence? I didn't hear you.
They're not for this variance, the LFO. Sorry.
One more time.
The LFO is not for this variance.
The info is
The
not.
LFO does not.
LFO.
The LFO.
Local fire official?
Oh, LF. Gotcha. Okay. I apologize. I'm getting all my hair in. And I wasn't aware of that. I'm not surprised. I wasn't aware of it. And I don't want to say this disrespectfully, but I don't think it will matter. When we filed this, I thought the building was over area. So we need a firewall to separate the area. When I went back and I apologize to staff for not providing us further information. Building is actually within the allowable area for M1, M and B and S1 occupancy. The basic allowable area for this is a pre-engineered steel building, but it's got wood frame stuff inside, so we used all wood frame type 5B numbers. Allowable area is 9,000. It's got open side rear yards on 4 sides, which allows us to increase the allowable area to 13.5, and the building is 13.5. So basically, today we could come and build this building out of all wood and be within the allowable area. We would have to look at dividing it based on sprinkler requirements, 12,000 maximum, which we have. We got 9,000 on one side and 4,500 on the other side. And with a 2-hour fire barrier, which would be a fire area separation, we would not be required to have a sprinkler today. So the fact is, we don't really need a variance, except that the local fire officials, one is one, and I know that the State Fire Marshal's office, if you're taking a sprinkler system out, definitely has input on that. But the GAR says you can remove things as long as you don't make it less safe than it was or than the current rules are. So this is safe according to the current rules because it meets the allowable area requirements, meets the separation requirements with the 2-hour fire barrier. So it will not need to be sprinkled if we built this building new today. And the hardship, let me explain why we're considering this.
Yeah, so
that's pretty important.
Yeah, so what brought this about?
Okay, and I'm glad you asked, because I needed to get to that probably first. Originally, this was part of a lumber yard. It was Complete Lumber, which was a major lumber yard in Evansville. And it had 4 or 5 buildings on its site. And this building had a woodworking shop in it and some other things which they wanted to sprinkle when they constructed the building. The adjacent building to the west was the main showroom and offices and so on. And a sprinkler water system comes from west of that building and feeds the first building and then comes off that building and feeds this building. The water and sewer utility in Evansville decided, and they have done this repeatedly now, that you cannot have a fire service line that's not on your property or in the right of way. So the sewer and water utility will shut this line off because it is passing through somebody else's property. An easement doesn't work. Trust me, we've tried everything. So the only option we have is to put a sprinkler system in where we can access water, which is south of this building. And if you look at the site plan there, you can see it's a pretty far distance. It's around almost 500 feet. I didn't include the cost of the sprinkler system. If they can, the building has a 6-inch riser in it. If they can maintain the 6-inch riser, the cost is going to be $75,000. If the distance creates a problem, and I don't know if we'll not, I'm not a sprinkler guy, but if they have to go to an 8-inch line, it'll increase that to $85,000. And the owner is stuck because it's like they're either going to shut my water off, which means I can't use my building, or we got to get variance. And so we're here requesting variance that we may or may not need, because to remove this fire suppression system isn't going to make the building less safe than the commission rules are today.
So the local fire official is against this.
The local fire official is against anything that takes out sprinkler systems.
Yeah, life safety.
And I'm sure that's not a surprise to It is. And I understand, and I don't blame them. If it wasn't gonna cost my owner $75,000 or $85,000 to fix it, then, we'd maintain it. But the fact of the matter is, it's not required under current requirements, therefore it's not required.
So did you guys, so it was a woodworking place before, right?
It has a lumberyard.
Lumberyard. So was it considered an F or an S?
It probably was both. It probably had a woodworking shop and storage in the same building. Yeah, lumberyards are. And then they remodeled the front of this building. It's now a kitchen and bath retail store where they have displays.
Well, so that was my point is that, so would like to know what it was initially, because obviously they called it an F because they sprinkled it.
Right.
Because as an S, it may not have been sprinkled, or may not have required that, so it was an F.
Right.
So but what do they do in the building today?
The front half, or the front large area is kitchen and bath retail, and they have some offices in there. And they also had their, do plan development, their design firm.
Did they get a change of use? To change it
This-
from that F to a B and an S today?
I would say no, that's been 30.
So if you change the use, that would negate this, correct? If you took it to state to get a change of use for this building, because you're not using it for the same thing it was used 30 years ago as an F or as an F, which required a sprinkler system.
Correct.
If you got a change of use to what it truly is today,
And the fact that it happened 30 or 35 years ago, I don't know, like, it's been a long time.
just trying to
But that's the right approach.
figure that out, because if you change the use of the building today,
Oh, yeah.
like most people they don't ever want to change the use. We've already talked about that, not changing the use of a structure. But I'm just saying, so if you submitted to the state, you get a change of use for the structure.
Yes.
To go from a F to a retail, because you're now mercantile, correct? Mercantile and warehouse facility.
And yeah.
That is small enough not to require a sprinkler system.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'm gonna say, yeah, I mean, I feel the same way that fire marshal does. I don't want to see a sprinkler system taken out. They provide protection for.
If you don't do the change of use and it goes back to that, what was it, F? Then now you're not compliant.
Correct.
And I would prefer not to approve a variance that's not really needed, because that's the right approach.
I think so.
That's the right approach.
That's
to
the
use.
better, that's more aligned with what.
Yeah.
You're gonna get the same result, but it's.
Do it the right way.
Mhm.
Yeah, rather than giving a variance for something that I don't want to see a variance for,
And then they're good going forward.
as long as they remain an M and a.
Yeah, because that use could change in 6 months. All of a sudden it goes back to what.
Well, yeah, things are a lot different today than they were 35 years ago. I think we all agree.
Yeah, but we can't do variances based on that. It's got to be done the right approach needs to be used.
Yeah, so why are you saying 35 years ago? Why is that important?
To me, the enforcement 35 years ago was not a tenth of what it is today. And therefore, the rules are, the chances of something changing today from one use to another in incorporated areas and have building departments in particular are slim to none.
So we don't know that. I mean, yeah.
And right now, another F could move back in there. If these guys went defunct, an F could move in, and they've already have a sprinkler system, and they're good to go.
Yeah, because the current.
Well, the sprinkler system was put in not because it was an F, I don't believe. It was put in because of the woodworking shop, over 2,500 square feet.
Well, and that's what I was trying to figure out. So that woodworking shop would have been considered an F, correct?
Yes.
So that, so the occupancy would have been an F because it was woodworking as a factory. It wasn't a warehouse, which would have been an S. And it may have been mixed use.
And I will also, and I didn't check this, but I don't want to delay this, so. I'm just saying that in the GAR, there's also, if it was a B2 in 1978, which it was, then it could be all these other uses without changing the occupancy.
But we are where we are. I'd much rather have it withdrawn than a denial. To go through the right process.
And but then again, I don't know, you resubmit to the state to get a change of use for the structure, there may be other requirements that get brought in.
There may be.
But it's still the right way.
Yeah, you change the
The
use.
biggest thing would be that if it was a B2, our GAR does state that it can be a MS1, pretty much anything. And so there really is no review. So, and it still states that since the main thing is they're wanting to get rid of the sprinkler system, it still states in the code that they need
Have to maintain your
local,
system.
that the local fire official needs to be, somebody needs to know that. So then you're back here with the variance.
Yeah, but if they came for the variance after that, then it's easier for us to say, okay, yeah. Right, we can agree to that because of the use now, right? Opposed to leaving it where, we don't know what it is.
I think what he's saying is that it wouldn't have to be filed because it's not changing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying the fire marshal, fire officials would probably still not let you take it out, and then you'd be back for a variance anyway.
So technically, based on the GAR, his B2 moved that from whatever we consider it now an F1, but if it was a B2 building at the time it was built, then it can be an MS1 without having to go through the commission or any of us. So technically, he's already done that. As far as the GAR is concerned, there's no plan, there's no release involved because he hasn't changed use according to the way the GAR states it in 12.4.
Yeah.
So his use is his use now, and technically, you said he is now a M or a BS1. And he's wanting to remove the sprinkler system, so he's getting the variance for that. So technically, we just went around and go back. We've just done 30 years of review here. So we're back to where we are, where he's still wanting to get rid of his sprinkler system. He is technically a B or MS1, depending B or MS1 because of the use of the building now. And he's wanting to get rid of this sprinkler system, which is not required for that structure as far as I know. I have not looked into drawings to determine that. And so technically he's back to where he is right now.
But we as a commission, members of the commission can't make a determination of that use, right? Would have to be made by staff, proposed that way? I mean, what would be the right way to doing that? Because I'm not comfortable sitting here saying what the use is because I don't know.
But you're right. I mean, it is in code, so you are correct. Because
We filed.
386, you would have just been, would he have been considered a B or was there the F designation? I don't know.
What is it currently?
I'd have to go back to that code section to find out what it'd be to
In
the lots.
I don't have that. So I know it's
MB.
12.4, is that right?
Yeah,
It's 12.4.11, I believe, or 12, I'm gonna look it up.
12.4.11,
Yeah, I think
B2,
we'd have to
B.
do a variance, these
Again, my owner doesn't really want to do this, but there's 75 or 80,000 reasons he has to.
You can't do what.
Because he's getting close to retirement and he can't just eat that much money.
But we would want to make sure it doesn't allow him to go back to being a deaf.
This is definitely a financial hardship.
So
again,
that owner, that occupant.
35 years ago, it changed from F to
It would only
the
be for.
MS1.
And
As long as
EMS,
it remains one of the
kitchen bath shop might have
allowed
been there
ones,
even
not
before.
require a sprinkler system.
Because a lot of the lumber yards went to a separate facility for those. But it's been a long time.
Yeah, to quote the section, it does say that building construction before April 30th, 98, the effective date of 98, Indiana Building Code, that change of occupancy classification shall not be considered a change of occupancy, as outlined as follows. And when you get to B2, B2 can be allowed to go to a B, an F1, M, S1, or S2. So it's any of the uses that it had previous, it is allowed to become. It can be any of those at that time.
And our verified, certified application that we more or less swear to says it's a M, B, and S1 now. It's a retail kitchen and bath shop. It's got some offices. They do drawings, plans, and the warehouse part's vacant right now. An S1 use only for an S2. And we can't do anything else without, we can't do anything, well, I'm taking it back. I won't say that, never mind. We couldn't do anything that required a sprinkler system now. If, let's say they wanted to put another woodworking shop in there and it was over 2,500 square feet, and they couldn't do that now without going through a CDR and a change of occupancy, I think. But it would require a sprinkler system, so I think it'd be a little different quality than this. Like I said, in our jurisdiction, things don't change without somebody knowing. And I'm sure it's the same in Fort Wayne, Indianapolis, most of the other major jurisdictions. I can't speak for the rural communities.
So I'm gonna make some statements and I want you to correct me where I misstate. 35 years ago, you were classified as an F occupancy now in there, but now you're MS1B, right?
Yeah, the only thing I can't swear to is what it was when it was constructed, because it was constructed way before 35 years ago. Okay, so when it's constructed, in the old building code, they had different occupancy classifications than they do now.
Yeah.
And so I did not go back and research that, so I can't give you I can't.
But it's fair to say that for the past 35 years, you've been lawfully in existence as a B, M, and S1.
Absolutely.
Okay. So then I go to 12.4.12, where it says, no addition or alteration shall reduce existing fire protection to a level less than required under provisions of the rules of the Commission for New Construction. Okay. So then I go to provisions for new construction, and those types of classifications with your square footage do not require a sprinkler. So you remove the sprinkler, which is allowed based on this section, because you're still meeting the requirements.
Correct.
So is a variance required?
Well, that was my initial question.
Well, you can't remove fire protection system without asking permission, because they have a fire alarm, they have a fire sprinkler system in the building now. So they can't just remove it on their own.
And I'm not sure.
Where's that in this? Where's that requirement?
I'm not sure it says that in there, but policy wise, and we're not arguing on that point.
It's actually mentioned in chapter 9.
And what's the hardship again if the system is operational, right?
$75,000 to $85,000.
To do what?
To run this new water line 500 feet.
The water and sewer utilities making them terminate, okay, the fee.
Plus, he doesn't really want to take it out, but he can't afford to keep it. And he doesn't have to have it. He doesn't. So that's, I think that's. I don't know how yours is up there. And
Is there a letter, anything that says that they're forcing this?
I think so. You talking about for the water department?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't have a copy of it, but I get it for you.
I mean, because
They've given them a time.
I'd want to see that just to make sure that somebody's actually, not that I don't believe you, but.
Well, when we file variance,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know it, I'm hearing it, but.
when we file variance, we basically are saying on our honor, this is it.
Well, I know that, and I appreciate that. I would never say that somebody would come up and file something that was untruthful. But to approve the removal of a fire sprinkler system, I guess I might want to see that
Written
in
from
writing
the
somewhere,
city
just to make
utilities,
sure.
Water
that-
department to
Yeah,
say.
that we're making the right decision to have it removed.
And if I can call the guy and see if I can get him, if I get him, I can see if he can email one up to me, and then I can email. If I email it to you, Denise, will you get it here? Oh, sorry. I apologize. If I have my owner email a document to you, will you get it here?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you want to like table this until I get that information, when I get it, I'll come back in if you'll let me come back up, not maybe wait till the end hour.
Yeah, motion to table.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Chris? Commissioner Height?
Yes.
Chairman?
Yes.
Commissioner Patterson?
Yes.
Vice Chairman?
Yes.
Commissioner Porter?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Yes.
Commissioner Sanders?
Yes.
That would help me, at least consider it.
Yeah, because I,
Because it's hard for me to not, I agree with you. I would have denied it.
yes.
And just as, I understand that's how we feel because we don't like that. But I don't think the rules support that position.
Yeah.
Our position is if it's not required, it's not required.
Get that.
I'm
It's still
gonna
up,
get it.
but it's still there,
It's
so
still
you know,
up.
you still look at those things, that they're still in the building, they still have to be maintained.
I'm just.
I'm just letting you know, our point as far as fire marshals goes, if it's there, it has to be maintained. And then they still have to come to us at 91.3 to be able to say, hey, can we remove this?
Yeah, there is, basically it's our discretion based on 91.3 modifications. But,
Do we like to require?
yeah, but that discretion, I would say is somewhat controlled by the minimum standard that if it meets the rules of the new construction, then that's the minimum, standard that
We typically look at those, as far as fire code officials typically look at those going, if you remove it, you change that use in a couple years from now because you, just as he's stating, he's probably gonna retire, If he leaves and sells that building and somebody else wants to do something different with it, we're gonna make them put the sprinkler system in.
to be legal.
Or possibly, but if you leave it there, and I always tell people that all the time, if you leave the sprinkler system there, all it's gonna do is help you with yourselves because as far as selling the structure, because there's so much more you can do with it if it's fully sprinkled, someone knowing that they don't have to come in and sprinkle the building.
Except for the infrastructure will be there, but the hardship is that they're gonna cut off the water or something.
Right.
Well, and I think that's what we really kind of want to see is that, do we have a letter from city utilities saying, or whatever?
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's what I want, just to make sure and confirm it's that much and they don't really have a choice. That I would consider maybe that hardship.
Yeah, the city's not willing to move the line.
Yeah, which
Or
seems
bring the
kind of
line
odd. Yeah.
Or, well, I guess that they're willing to, they're just gonna charge them $75,000 to move the.
Yeah, that's still
fire
seems a
sprinkler line,
little,
but
yeah, odd.
I would think that if it's If it's standing there already.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you allow that?
Yeah, that's why I'm just a little confused by that.
All right, well, let's continue.
All right, so next up we have 240445 Phoenix Fort Wayne International Harvester Fort Wayne.
And first, the variance was voided. Second one, NFPA 72 requires 2 transmission channels. They are requesting 1 channel.
Is there a proponent here for? Phoenix Investors or Phoenix Fort Wayne International Harvester? Anyone online for 2701 South Coliseum Boulevard, Fort Wayne?
Motion to table.
Mr. Triple?
Yes.
Mr. Height?
Yes.
Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Patarino? Yes. Vice Chairman?
Yes.
Commissioner Porter?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Zhang?
Yes.
All right, that one's good. Next up, we have 240446 A and B St. John the Evangelist Catholic Church.
All right, there's 2 with this. We do not have an issue with B, which is a request to replace existing doors with the exact same size that are 30 inches wide for each door leaf. One we sent to you to be reviewed would be A. This is to allow the both means of egress from the rooftop terrace to be horizontal exits in lieu of 1/2 of the total number. The reason why we sent this to you is most of these rooftop ones we've seen usually are banks or other areas where they won't be used as much. From this, it looks like this might be used more often, so we thought this would be best for you to look at.
And Rensing Tim Consultants. So this is a rooftop terrace, about 2,200 square feet. It's on the roof of a 1-story parish hall that's under construction right now. That's situated between the old original St. John church building and the rectory building. So it's bounded on 3 sides by existing buildings. So the issue here is that our first and best alternative was to try to get an exterior stairway. It may not show up real well on the plan, but there's a small courtyard to the east that we the designer attempted to design a stairway that would fit in there, and it just won't fit in any way at all, because there's, well, for one, there's a lot of equipment in there, some electrical equipment. It dumps out into a very narrow alley. They've got a brick wall there. It's just too narrow. They tried and we just couldn't get it to work. So we're proposing both means of egress through the rectory building to the south. We're requesting these to be considered horizontal exits, frankly, so because we don't want the means of egress system in the rectory building to be evaluated, because it's a very old building. It was built originally in 1863. And there's an addition was made to that in 1878. So the 2 means of egress, as you see, are proposed. There's a small set of new steps, and then you would enter into the main part of that rectory building, and there are 2 separate stairways that will get you out to 2 separate exits. Sometimes we ask for more than 50% horizontal exits because of the travel distance issue. You've seen that recently on a couple of them that we've had. That's not the case here. We do meet the travel distance to the exterior. It's about 176 feet. We're actually within travel distance to both of the exterior exits. Code only requires you to be within 1. So it's not a long path. It's just just under 100 feet through the building in both paths. We do have a 3-hour wall separating the parish hall from the existing rectory building. So we do have a fire rated separation there. We have an alarm and detection system in this in the parish hall building and also in the rectory building. The rectory building was recently refurbished, updated, and they put a new alarm and detection system in there. We do have smoke detection in all the corridors and some of the other normally unoccupied spaces throughout that building. So we have good notification and alarm. I added an attachment. I actually asked Denise to add this. It was added yesterday, the last attachment. I went to look at the building because I wanted to see what those stairs look like, and they're actually very favorable, especially given the age. But if you look at that attachment, I've shown the 3 existing stairs that have to be used to get to the exterior from that rooftop. It's just 1 story above grade. So going from left to right, if you're looking at that plan, the stair that's in the 1878 edition, it's 6.5-inch maximum rise and 11-inch run. It's really a beautiful stairway in more ways than one, but it's very easy to travel. That's exceeds requirement even by current code. And the treads and risers are very uniform. It's a very nicely done stair. And then going to the right, there's a small set of steps that transition from the 2nd floor of the addition 1878 to the 2nd floor of the original 1863 building. It's about 5 risers, I believe. Those are, again, they're very gentle slope. It's 5.5-inch rise and 13-inch run, very uniform in terms of its construction. And then the original stair in the 1863 building is a 7-inch rise and a 10-inch run. That's actually the only one that doesn't meet today's code. That would have met the code. Codes in, well, this was long before a code was in Indiana. That was in the 1920s when Indiana had its first building code. But in Indiana, from the time the first code went into effect up until 1986, the complying rise and run for a stair would be a maximum 7.5-inch rise and a 10-inch run. So it actually meets the older codes in Indiana. So I will add that we do have, the stairs are actually very good stairs that we'll be using for the egress through the existing building.
There's 147 occupant run.
Yeah, calculated at 147. That's based on 2,200 square feet. That's assuming they use every square inch of it. There might be some cutouts where they're putting the steel.
I just think that's a lot of people.
Yeah, have you done one of those egress models?
I'm sorry.
Have you done one of those egress models with, through all those stairs?
Oh, yeah, I mean, we have plenty of width. Is that what you mean?
No, I'm aware that there's like some modeling you can do with persons egressing out.
For timed egress?
Yeah.
I just tended to use the old rule of thumb where you can move 17 persons per foot per minute down the stair and about 21 persons per foot per minute through a door. So I mean, we're going to get everybody out of there in probably less than 2 minutes. Codes are generally constructed and new construction for about 3 minutes. So I don't think that the time, plus we do have the detection, enhanced detection. So that's more the key, is that the time to egress is shortened because you get quicker notification than you would otherwise.
You don't think part of the problem is that second stair, and you said it, you're going down the stair through a door, through the corridor, into another stair, down that stair, well, into a corridor,
does. And tear down.
It's all a very natural flow. I mean, I've been there, I've looked at it, walked it. They've got exit signage in there as part of this last project. So there's not really any confusion. You can go, if you come down, you can go in any direction, you'll get out of the building.
Is there a fire official that looked at this and said, yep, we think this is good?
We didn't get any comments back from them.
According to your picture, there's 126 seats on the roof.
Yeah, they're gonna pack that thing, I'm like.
126 seats, you're talking about on the terrace?
Yeah, the picture.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if that may be, I don't know, but we just took it by 15 square feet per person, so that comes up to 147. I don't think that the number matters so much, we just. With a lot of people.
But the exits.
I'm sorry.
So the exits fit for that number of people.
Oh, absolutely, yes. And then that, as I mentioned earlier, the second variance was to reverse the door swing on the, what's in fact the front door of the rectory building. So we'll have new doors there with painted hardware. Swing in the direction of egress. Right now they swing into the building.
As a fire official, Chairman, is that something that, I mean, certainly the path width is there, the door swing in the right direction. Does that concern you at all, with the way that path is? I mean, usually Indianapolis is usually here, right?
Yeah, usually they are. They are if they have an issue, but this isn't really a fire.
No, they're usually here in support, right? I love it.
No,
They have it
I do
support.
an awful lot of variances in Indianapolis that they don't comment on.
No, I guess, me looking at this, I would probably be okay with the exiting. Obviously, I'd like to take a look at it, but obviously I'm not gonna be able to go take a look at it. Edmonds, if it was in Fort Wayne, I'd be there looking at it.
But sure.
But with the change of the door, so you have changed all the door swings.
All the doors in the direction of egress will swing in the direction of egress, yes. And we'll have painting hardware where required, because actually, yeah, we'll have 2 new exterior doors serving this area. Yeah.
Emergency or exit lighting provided as well?
Yeah, they recently completed a refurbishment of, I'll call it refurbishment. It's kind of a remodel, but they really didn't change walls much at all. But they upgraded all new emergency egress, emergency lighting and exit signage in the rectory building. So it's been updated nicely.
And then they have accessible route to all the existing rectory buildings.
Yeah, and there is a new elevator installed that will provide access also.
And how many stories did you say?
This is just on the second story. The rectory building's actually 3 stories in the basement. But this is just, we're exiting through the second story, so we're just traversing 1 story.
There's a 3-hour barrier between the parish hall and the rectory.
Yes, that may or may not show up on these drawings, but yeah, there's a 3-hour fire barrier between the new parish hall and actually both of the existing buildings. So we do have a fire separation.
And so all your spaces, even unoccupied spaces, had detection in them?
Yes.
And then you got notification on that rooftop terrace as well?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, by current code, we have to do that. So that'll all be tied together.
This is really just all the moving through that building. I'm thinking, if I was in there, I think I'd get lost.
I don't think
with a fire situation,
you know, turn here, go there.
As long as the signage.
Yeah.
You can go in any
Emergency
direction.
lighting, the exit signs,
Exit sign, emergency lights.
it's on the rooftop. The doors have been swung the right direction.
And they have early detection. I would make a motion to approve. Second. First and second to approve.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Heck?
Yes.
Chairman?
Yes.
Commissioner Patrick?
Yes.
Vice Chairman?
Yes.
Commissioner Porter?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Yes.
Yes.
You want to take the next two together?
Thank you. Yes, please. Oh, you're asking. They're identical, so.
So IHS on the next two.
I feel like it's
The 240447 and
They're exactly the same
240448
as building.
are multifamily, building B and C.
Yeah, the first one, there's two parts in 47. First part is code requires a height of exiting at 7 feet 6 inches. They want to go with 7 feet on the first floor under the stair landing. And the second part is code permits a ceiling membrane of 1 and 2 hour rated horizontal assemblies to be interrupted with a double top plate, and has a fire rated wall assembly as long as the penetrating items through the double top plates are protected. They got a pretty good section on that in the second view plan.
This is exactly the same.
And they are, these two
as last month.
variances are exactly what was approved on building A. The only reason I didn't have these here last month is that, this is a little secret here, if I've already filed variances on a project, I can add some later. And they get in on the original time they were put in. So that's how I was able to get the two variances on building A through last month.
And the easy question, how many units does this affect? Because last time it was like 4, I think.
Yeah, it's a small number of units. It is. And actually, they made an alteration to some of the issues. One of the issues that we had on building A was eliminated because they decided to go with a wider top plate to cover that whole cavity in there. But yeah, it's in just a few locations. That you're thinking of the bathtub wall one. And that one, actually, that's the one we don't have on buildings A and B because they were able to get in there and fix. The easy solution to that, if they had done it in time on building A, would have been to put the 2x8 double top plate up there. Then we'd have a solid double top plate with a 2x8 and 2x4s together. So that's what they did on buildings B and C are the ones we're looking at here. So that we don't, the only ones we have really, the other one's a fire blocking issue where we have balloon frame walls that go up.
It's the same as last time.
Exactly the same.
And I didn't mean to, Chairman, I didn't mean to cut off Ed before he got to go through this whole thing again. But I just thought, we just heard this last month.
Yes.
And even though it's still disturbing to me, I would just make a motion to approve because this is exactly what we did last month. Instead of spending 10, 15 minutes on it.
Second. Okay, Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Height?
Yes.
Chairman?
Yes.
Commissioner Patrick?
Yes.
Vice Chairman?
Yes.
Commissioner Porter?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Yes.
Commissioner Zane?
Yes.
All right, those approved.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Next up, we have 240449 Lobster Ranger, tenant remodel Scott.
Yes, this one and actually 240455 are both the same location and same thing. It's a escape room. This one is this request to allow the hardware to not be affixed to the door leaf. The 55 one, they're asking two things. They want to request to have a posted occupant load of 47 in lieu of calculated load of 69, which we did not have an issue with. It was E that we had the issue with, which was they don't want to meet any of the requirements for special amusement. the two submitters.
Sorry, was that on both of them or just the one?
49.
49,
So they're
okay.
different submitters.
Sorry, there was a different submitter, so.
Okay.
Good morning.
Are you here for Locked Granger?
I am, yes, sir.
Okay. And your name?
My name is Antonio Parisi. I'm also with Melissa Tupper from RTM Consultants.
Okay.
They are.
So my initial question, I guess, would be that because there's two more of these requested later in the agenda, is it okay to hear them all at the same time?
We're hearing them all at the same time.
Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic. So I guess my position is one of two, whichever you feel most comfortable with. I am happy to negate locking any of the doors to alleviate the need for the fire suppression system and the smoke alarm fire panel. I'm also happy to install the fire panel as suggested in the variance request, with relays attached to each of the doors so that should any light switch go off, any pull station go off, any smoke detector go off, all doors would operate just like plain old doors. Essentially disengaging the electromagnetic locks. And in regard to negating all of the requests, the primary concern for us is just a financial matter in regard to the fire suppression system itself, the sprinkle. The building is not a sprinkled building.
Melissa Tupper here, RTM Consultants. So the first variance that Antonio filed was for the door locks that we've had approved on all of these game room setups with the same type of activation of a detector or anything unlocks the door, and then they also have the push button beside it. They have to sign a waiver before they go in. The game rooms are limited to 6 occupants. They're always monitored. If there is any incident to occur, they can monitor and be aware of that and take action. Then the other variance that we had requested regarding the special amusement requirements, this is a very small tenant space. So applying all of the requirements for special amusement buildings would be very cost prohibitive. This is a small tenant space in an existing strip mall. The calculated occupant load, there's 5 or 6 game rooms.
Five game rooms.
5 game
6
rooms with
occupancy.
6 occupants. So we've got 30 people plus, a few employees, a few people potentially waiting. So we put a maximum occupant load at 47. There's no food or drink here. It's simply you're coming in and doing the escape rooms in a very small space. We're going to do a monitored smoke detection system throughout, and that is tied to the door locks. But based upon the small space, and had this been a change of use, a lot of these larger ones that are a higher occupant load get reviewed using Chapter 34, so you don't have to apply this special amusement requirements. So that's how a lot of the facilities are not meeting all of those requirements. But since we aren't changing use, we have to comply with that section, and it would require extensive systems.
And I'm sorry, did I catch him saying that they were gonna leave the doors unlocked at all times anyway?
Yeah, I don't.
We're happy to either way.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what I
that
thought. That they would leave the doors unlocked.
Yeah, then Antonio, that would, alleviate the first variance. You wouldn't have needed to request that if you're offering to do that. If you're offering to do that as a trade-off for the second variance.
Gotcha. He had mentioned that. I was thinking, why are we hearing the first one then?
Right. I think he's offering it as a trade-off on the second one, if that would make you feel more comfortable with that variance.
That's correct.
Variance nearly identical to this was granted back in 2018 for a similar small B occupancy escape room with the same provisions. They'd had the smoke detection and they did have the door locks.
So my question, Melissa, is, so you said that one was a B, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So what's making this one be an A?
It's not, but even if you have a special amusement that's a B occupancy, it still requires it to comply with 411.
And so what are you doing as so it's being considered a special amusement just because it's you're not.
Because they are locking the doors, basically.
Oh, but they wouldn't lock the doors anymore.
Yeah, I know, then maybe it's not. Is
That's
there any other, because like haunted houses and things like that, anywhere your perception is confused, and I'm not familiar with how this would be set up. Antonio, is there anything when they're locked in these rooms that would make it confusing and not clear about exiting?
No, absolutely not. There's essentially an entrance exit aspect to it. The game essentially ends simply by scanning what I would consider an RFID key on a pad next to the door that lights up a green or red aspect to allow the individual to know whether or not, and it stops the timer, of course, to let them know that they succeeded in the solution.
Okay,
But
so
I apologize. I did want to make mention though that the gentleman that we sent the state plans to, and I'm having a tough time pulling it up right now, but they were declined and requested that we request a variance very specifically because of the use of our facility being technically an amusement facility where individuals are in a gaming type of facility, required for us to be under this umbrella, is my understanding. I'm not the professional here. Melissa by far knows much more than I do, and I'm sure you do as well.
My question to staff would be, are they truly an amusement or are they a B?
The special amusement definition does state that it's occupied for amusement, entertainment. And the main thing is that the means of egress path is not readily apparent due to visual audio distraction, or is intentionally confounded, or is not readily available because of the nature of the attraction. And so that last sentence does put escape rooms where you are technically confined for a period of time into that realm. So, I mean, yes, you are purposely asking to do this, but you are put in a room that is locked for a specific period of time. Now, they do have the emergency exits, so there's always a way out, but you're not ever confined.
Correct.
To a point. But you are stuck in the room, so to speak, for that period of time as you try and figure the puzzle out.
Theoretically speaking, you are stuck in a room, but at any time that anybody would want to exit, they have the ability to open the door and walk right out.
So that's where the definition.
Yeah, that was my question is, so if they leave the doors aren't locked at all, are they still?
Doors aren't locked, then.
Are they still considered an amusement? Or if there's nothing that makes that door seem out of the ordinary, right?
That's the question, yes. It's always been interpreted so far. Most of our other escape rooms that have gone through plan review have been classified as a special amusement building. And so that has been the policy of DHS.
No, Bill and I realize that because we've heard these in the past, or at least I've heard them in the past as well.
Yeah,
But,
and